Hello everyone, this is Taliesin McKnight. Thank you for joining me. Today's topic is the dream journal or dream diary. And why is this important? Of course, a dream diary or a dream journal is a notebook or a spiral that you record your dreams in. So you write down your dreams, you come to remember your dreams, you analyze your dreams. Now, why is this important? Why is this significant? Well, if we come to the conclusion that mysticism, enlightenment, self-transformation, self-change is something that we need to do, it is an actual process, so that you're not going to obtain self-transformation by reading a bunch of books. You're not going to reach enlightenment and transform yourself by studying and reading books. There is an actual task, a work. There is something we have to do. Mysticism is not a study, it is an action, it is a verb. So there is an actual task, there is an actual work that has to be performed. So in the process of self-change, we could study the road to get there, but unless we get up and walk the path, then it's useless. We could study how to do it, the process, experiences people have had, things like that. But until we walk the path, until we go through the steps, then we're not obtaining gnosis. Now, there is a difference between enlightenment and self-change, but I'm speaking of both of these together. What is self-change? Self-transformation. Self-change could be taken in different ways. It could be seen as enlightenment. It could be seen as gnosis, reaching union with God, things like that. Or, at a more material level, self-change could be becoming the person you want to be. Self-transformation. And so there is an actual process of self-transformation. There are certain methods to program your mind. We have creative visualization. We visualize our goals. We repeat affirmations, things like that, in order to program our mind. We hew away at our imperfections until we become the perfected individual. In this process, we often tend to suppress aspects of ourselves that we're trying to get rid of. We're not acknowledging certain darker aspects of our psyche. We all have repressed urges, desires, repressed fears, things about ourselves that we fail to acknowledge. We fail to acknowledge our dark side, our own shadow. Now, what is the shadow? The shadow is everything about yourself that you fail to acknowledge. It includes certain vices, certain faults and weaknesses we fail to acknowledge in ourselves, and we tend to notice them in others. This is called projection. Oftentimes, people notice the weaknesses and faults of other people, but we fail to acknowledge that it exists within ourselves. Carl Jung, the eminent Swiss psychologist, said that enlightenment does not occur in figures robed in light, but by making the darkness conscious. So we are making things about ourselves we're not aware of, our own fears, our own aggression, things like that, coming to the surface. So we all have sexual desires that we push down. We all have anger. This is just one aspect of the dream I'm speaking of. When you're really angry and you push it down and push it down, it just builds and builds. We need to have an outlet for that aspect of the psyche. So that's one way of looking at the dream journal, is that it makes unconscious material conscious. So, yeah. Now, we spend 8 hours a day asleep. A third of our lives are spent asleep, and most of that time dreaming. So if you live to be 60 years old, you've spent 20 years of your life asleep. If you live to be 90, 30 years were spent asleep. So this is obviously important. Our dreams are a way for our subconscious mind to speak to us. It is a way to make unconscious material conscious. So on one hand, we are bringing unconscious material conscious. We are bringing things we're not aware of about ourselves to the surface and releasing them. And on the other hand, we have things like intuition, prophetic dreams, inspiration. So there are lots of different facets to what a dream can tell you about yourselves. This is a form of self-knowledge. Know yourself. Know thyself. You have to have self-knowledge. Many of us want to go out there and work on our environment. We want to change the external world. Very few people focus on inner work, working on themselves. So if mysticism and gnosis is an action, there is an actual work. There's something we need to do. You can't just read books and study the path and not walk it. There is an actual process. Now we live our lives by routine. We get up, we shower, shave, brush our teeth, we go to work, we come home, have a beer, go to sleep. Well, that's what I usually do, most of the time studying. We all have our daily routine. We're creatures of habit. So we need to incorporate every day something in our daily routine that goes towards this self-change. And dream notebook or a dream diary is a great way to do that. So this is a two-way communication. We communicate to our subconscious, and our subconscious communicates back. And while we are molding our character, while we are working on ourselves, we are bringing unconscious material to the surface. Now, how do you do this? Very simple. And I think, in my opinion, I think that this is central. You have to have a dream notebook. Well, you don't have to, but it's pretty essential. Really helps. Take a spiral notebook, a journal, whatever. Have it on your bed beside you with a pen. As soon as you wake up, still in bed, write down your dreams and all its details that you can remember. Because 10 minutes later, you may forget. So what I personally do when I wake up in the morning, I'm in bed. Just woke up. Oh, hell, that was a hell of a dream. Where's my notebook? Okay, I remember this happened and that happened, and yeah, there was a girl, and and write it all down. And then when I go shower and brush my teeth and shave, I think about my dream and what did this mean? I drive to work trying to remember what it meant. So yeah. So there's an actual inward process of self-change, and part of this is bringing subconscious material to the surface. Now, one of the dangers, one more thing I'd like to cover, sirs and madams. There's one more danger, one more thing I want to talk about. Yes, prophetic dreams do occur, in my opinion. I'm not telling you what to think. You have to think for yourself. But in my personal opinion, yes, prophetic dreams. But we need to be careful not to interpret every dream as prophetic. Sometimes, like I said, it's unconscious fears, things that we're not consciously aware of going on in our minds. For example, if you have a dream that at work, all your coworkers are plotting against you. Let's say you have a dream that all your coworkers are plotting against you and they secretly hate you. if you take that as prophetic and it's not, then you might go to work and quit, or go to work and say screw y'all, or you don't trust people anymore. What if it's just your own subconscious fear? So that's important. You need to realize that dreams don't always equal reality. It's possible that it's not the case. That's just your own fear. Maybe you're distrustful of people, and that's bringing that to the surface. So yes, prophetic dreams occur, but you need to look at it from all angles before you take it as prophetic. It may just be, like I said, unconscious material. So we need to become aware of our shadow, things that we repress. Nightmares. People hate nightmares. They demonize them. They despise them. But nightmares bring to surface our fears, things that we don't like, things that we're holding down. So nightmares, the darkness, is a lot of times the source of light or enlightenment. And that is the dream notebook, the dream spiral. During this process of self-change and self-transformation, we're bringing unconscious material to the surface. Also, during periods of prayer, fasting, meditation, sometimes bursts of enlightenment, seeing things as they are, come through dreams. Sometimes you may have a vision of something real important spiritually. Sometimes you have something prophetic. Some people believe that there could be a communication with the other world. So there are lots of different ways to look at this. Recording your dreams makes you not blind 8 hours a day. It makes it where you're no longer blind 8 hours a day. You don't have amnesia. 8 hours a day, y'all? You live to be 90. 30 years of your life are spent without merit. We need to have merit. We need to make the use of that 8-hour period. And then later on, we'll talk about lucid dreaming. So yeah, and that is the dream journal. Why is it important? In my opinion, this is very important, that every day we write down our dreams and analyze them. And that is part of the process of self-change. Mysticism, enlightenment, gnosis, self-transformation, these things, it's not just something you study. You could read all the books you want and get nowhere. There's something you have to do. It is an action. There is an actual work that has to be performed. And that is the Dream Journal, and thank you for joining me, and see y'all next time. This is Taliesin McKnight. Take it easy, yo.